The skeleton's favorite musical instrument? The trombone. Always have that backup battery charge, which somehow we did today. Hey, it's #1 best-selling author and motivational speaker, Erik Qualman. A lot of you know me as Equalman. I'm excited about today's 7 super tips because we have Google founder, Larry Page. Fun fact about Larry Page, he grew up in Lansing, Michigan, but it pains my heart as a Spartan. He went to the University of Michigan, but that's okay. Both my parents went to U of M, so we have a house divided. Crazy enough, when I was at Yahoo, there's 2 students that had a search engine that helped backpower Yahoo search. And we at Yahoo had the opportunity to buy Google for $1 million. What a mistake that we didn't buy them for $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to keep things moving, and that's always a big trick. I think, for me, the key is setting really big goals. And, with YouTube, I think we've had tremendous leadership, both with the founders and now with Salar, who's been running it. And I think they've all had a vision to really improve people's entertainment, improve access to entertainment, build a community that feels really strongly about it, that has free speech, that has really great diversity, and it's a two-way medium. And what does that mean for entertainment? And so that's kind of been their mission. And even how do we improve the world, given that most people spend most of their time engaged in entertainment, looking at a screen. How do we make the world better, given we have the internet and people doing that? And that's something, you can work the rest of your life on and be excited about, right? You're not just purely making money, you're also thinking about how do we make things better? Got, 20 or 30 hours a week of people's time. That could really materially affect the world, right? Not just make a lot of money. And so I think, and we're not there with YouTube yet, we're at 10 minutes or something out of the 40 hours. So you can see the potential for business growth, and you see the potential to do something new and different, and you have a great base to build on that. But in my experience with these things is you kind of get stuck. You're a car company, you make cars. You look at Tesla, I'm friends with Elon. They're a car company with a mission to change the world and make it zero emissions. That's a mission you can get further on than just being a normal car company. And again, from Peter's talk, technology is with you. They've got a 30% year, 10% better every year batteries to work with. And car engines don't get better, traditional ones. So I think a lot of times my issue is people are not setting goals that will be something that somebody who becomes rich or could do anything, you got to be excited about working on that for 10 years. So you got to have a big enough goal that you attract the best people and you retain them and you keep them focused. And then in my experience, you don't go wrong. Maybe you don't hit it next year, or maybe you fail entirely and you discover something more exciting to work on with the same set of people. It's very easy to neglect the future compared to the present. So I think in most companies, it tends to be almost completely present focused. And in technology, that means you'll always be obsoleted over time because you do get big scale changes. So, you need to do both things, I guess is the answer. And, I think, honestly, the vast majority of certainly management time and so on gets spent on present basic operations, making sure you're doing things well. And it's hard to get people to work on future things, right? You actually kind of have to yell at people and say, hey, why aren't you, doing some new thing that's important? So I find it's somewhat the opposite. No matter how hard you try, you can never get people focused enough on the future.
I wanted to make another point. So I think leverage is really, really important. And one of the things I was really lucky, my dad was a computer science professor, and we had a computer when I was really young. And somehow I sort of realized, the computer can do a lot of things, and, I'm kind of lazy, and, having the computer do things is good. And that really gives you leverage. And it was amazing when we started the company, even when we had about 3 employees, we had several million people who used the search engine. And we actually accidentally published our phone number at some point on the website. And people started calling us, and we couldn't do our business because the phone just kept ringing. And we had to take down the phone number. But the computers were able to actually answer all those people and do something that was really useful for the world. And I think for all of you, there are many areas where there's leverage available in the world, where one or two people, a good idea, a lot of hard work can really make a difference. There's many, many things like that. And it's good not to forget that, but it's good to look for those things.
And for me, it comes back to what I said earlier, just about setting really important goals, making sure we're setting goals high enough that people really want to come into work in the morning, and they believe in what the company is doing, and they believe that our ethics are sound and their morals are right, and we're also trying to make the world better, in addition to making our business bigger and better. I think we're in a very competitive environment, but I think we've been really happy with our ability to do that. I think we try to treat our employees as owners and as part of our family, and I think that's been really powerful too. I mean, it sounds stupid, but just free food, people really trying to treat people how you think they're going to be treated 10 years from now, right? My grandfather was an auto worker, and I still have a lead hammer that he would carry to work every day to protect himself from the company, right, that he worked for. I don't think that's Google. That's 2 generations, right? So what will the next generation be? And I think hopefully, I believe in a world of abundance, as Peter was saying. And in that world, many of our employees don't have to work, right? They're pretty wealthy. They could probably go many years without working. Why are they working? They're working because they like doing something, they believe in what they're doing. And I think that's what the future world's going to be like, hopefully. And so I believe we want to get ahead of those trends and drive those trends, not follow them. So you want every worker you have to have the choice not to work and to do whatever they want to do, but they want to work for you because they believe they're doing something great and important. So that's what you should want. That's like Henry Ford wanting every employee to be able to buy a car, right? We want every employee to be able to do anything, but we want them to still work for us. I mean, I think, in reading the history of companies, I think it's really important to have people all rowing in the same direction. So, I think one of the things is just to make sure everyone is acting as one company and that everyone's helping out each other, that we're trying to make everything successful in ways that make sense. It's very easy, I think, in companies to just kind of resort to infighting and not everyone's rowing the same direction and so on. So I think that's the main thing. And I think, beyond that, we had areas of focus. We have Chrome, we have Android, things like that, or, we have search and knowledge. We have big areas of things we do, and just try to organize into those product areas and make sure we're really talking about what we're building. What are we going to build over the next year that's going to really make people's lives better and make sure we're moving the needle on kind of all of our products and that we're organized to do that.
One of the things that I'd been through as a student was some leadership training, and one of the things they taught us was to not be afraid of failure, and instead to have the goal to fail a lot quickly, and then eventually you'll succeed. And I sort of took this to heart, and they also had a slogan called "Healthy Disregard for the Impossible." And they actually made you write down sort of the things you would do that were kind of impossible, but you thought you might really accomplish. And that's really stuck with me in everything that I've tried to do. And I think, it was very, very close that we wouldn't have started the company. And I think there are many of you out there in sort of similar situations. Do you want to take a little bit more risk? Do you want to try something out? And, even if you don't succeed, we actually tried many things that didn't work. Google happened to work pretty well. But there are many things that we did that didn't. But we don't worry about those, right? Because we tried many things. So I just encourage you to take a little more risk in life. And I think if you do it often enough, they will really pay off. You know, we always try to concentrate on the long term, what we're doing for the long term. And, you know, I think that, you know, many of the things we started up that are really big now, like Chrome, were seen as kind of crazy when we launched them. And so how do we decide what to do? How do we decide what's really important to work on? Well, I like to call the toothbrush test. So the toothbrush test is, do you use it as often as you use your toothbrush? And for most people, I guess that's twice a day. Raise your hand. Twice a day? Yeah. Okay, most people. So I think, you know, we really want things like that. And I think things like Gmail, obviously, use much more than twice a day. And YouTube, you know, I think that those things are amazing. And I think that, you know, we look at things like YouTube, people thought, oh, you guys are never going to make money with that. You bought it for $1.4 billion. You know, you're totally crazy. And we were reasonably crazy, but it was a good bet. We've actually been doubling revenue every year on YouTube for 4 years. And actually, if you're doubling things, it starts to add up pretty quickly, even no matter where you start from. So I think that's a good example of how sort of our philosophy is that we see things that people use a lot, that are gonna be really important to them, and we think that usually you can make money from those things over time. You know, a well-run technology business can be monetized over time.
That's it for today's 7 super tips with Google's own Larry Page and fellow Michigander as well. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So remember, if you want to make sure you don't miss the next 7 super tips, hit that subscribe button below. This show's all around unlocking and unleashing your inner superpower. Remember, I'm your host, Erik Qualman. A lot of you know me as Equalman. Until next time, it's not what we take from the world, it's what we leave behind. 7 supers oh man, so close. I guess you're rolling right now. I guess I shouldn't talk about Hawk and Lugans. But hey, when you're on stage, you're just trying to power through and you have a cold, and you're going, man, is the audience really hearing my cold right now? And all these thoughts, your mind's tough to shut it off. But sometimes that's happened to me on stage. So if it's happened to me, it might be happening to you. Don't worry about it, just fight through it.